I was always that kind of guy watching all those YouTube videos, and I really like taking action, but just like being afraid to take action and just watching a ton of videos. So my first 30 days exactly, I was at 9.6K revenue, so very close to 10K.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson here on the channel. Today we're going to be doing an interview with my student Matt, who has had, to say the least, quite a successful product launch in his first 30 days selling his new product. So Matt, are you there? How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, Paul? Good to see you.
Thanks, man. It's going great. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started selling on Amazon and where you came from, what got you interested in FBA, and let's hear that story.
Yeah, so I got interested in FBA through one of my best friends about a year and a half ago. I was always that kind of guy watching all those YouTube videos, and I really like taking action, but just like being afraid to take action and just watching a ton of videos. And it wasn't until about 6 months ago I got a mentorship with you, and it really helped me like take that footstep into the water and just test the waters and see what Amazon was like. So I kind of had about a year of just looking around so much and just watching videos. So that kind of caught my interest and built my interest. And I would say I wouldn't have had the success I had if I wouldn't have soaked in so much information, to say the least.
Yeah, that's important. And I think there's a fine line between learning and procrastinating. A lot of people will learn for a year and then still not do anything. So it's important to make that decision to go, okay, you know what, I'm actually going to get started. So can you tell us about where did you draw that line? Like what made you go, okay, instead of just learning this, I'm now going to start?
Well, I kind of asked myself, I'm like, what's going to change in the next year if I just keep soaking information or if I just take action right now? And I realized I kind of would kind of be in the same spot a year from now, just like looking around, trying to find products and not be maybe getting more smarter. But the best way to learn in the end is like taking action. And like failure is honestly the best gift because it's going to teach you your hardest lessons that you need to learn. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love what you said. You said something very important there. So basically, what is my life going to be like in a year if I start, and what is it going to be like if I don't start? Because I think a lot of
Yeah.
people associate risk to starting, but what's the risk of not starting? It's always a question that, I kind of started this business out of fear of maintaining where I was. Like that was actually more fearful than what happens if I start and it doesn't work. I was more worried about what if I don't start? I'm going to be in the same position a year from now. So getting into it, how did you find your product idea? And so you're watching all these research videos and you're watching how to start Amazon. But what was that process like of actually finding your first idea and then moving it into sourcing it and so on?
Yeah, to be 100% honest with you, I found your product off of your list actually. I subscribed to your list about on your Patreon about 5, 6 months ago and really just skimmed through all of them and really just imagined like, can I differentiate? Can I be different in this market? And I would ask myself all those questions that you would teach to your students that I would just apply. And eventually it came across this one product. And it all matched up so well of I can differentiate in this market. I could be a lot different. I can separate myself. And I think you have to be realistic with yourself. I think a lot of people look at numbers and say this is an incredible market, but you have to also ask yourself, like, can this be like, can I actually differentiate in this market? Like, can I actually be different in this market than just saying, wow, the numbers look great. I should do this product.
Yeah, that's so important. I can't speak more to the point that you need to enter a market based on why is this customer going to buy my product? Not, oh, they do well, so when I sell, I'll do well. So what
Yeah.
was it about that product, without giving too much away, that you liked, right? What was it
Yeah.
that you saw and this was like a light bulb moment? Okay, that's the kind of product that I want to sell. So maybe run us through a little bit of like what criteria you use to make your decision of what you're going to go and sell. Regardless if you got it from my list, you guys watching are on that, it doesn't matter. Wherever you find it, the criteria of seeing something and knowing it's going to be good is going to be the same no matter what.
Well, first of all, I saw that really my only competitors were on the first page and that there was nobody really doing a good differentiation. I feel like everybody was doing a Me Too product and nobody was going slightly outside the box, being, I say 20% better is a good rule to be always better than your other listings. And all the listings were just really poor and had really bad photography. So I wanted to like capture what was working well in the market and add it to my own listing, and then just combine it all, because I saw a 3-pack pricing for $70. I was making a $40 profit, and I was like, this guy is overpricing by $20-30. Why can't I be better and sell for, instead of $70, $50? And that's kind of just like what I did in my market, and that's how it went really well. Is I saw opportunity, and I saw a hole in a market. It's the best way to say it.
So you modeled, right? You saw someone
Mhm.
doing something that was working, and you saw the fact that, wow, customers are able to pay that much for this. I know I could, even if I did something even similar, that I could sell for a lot less. And how did you avoid just doing something that everyone could do though? Did you customize your product, or did you just kind of send it in, right off of Alibaba?
I really customized it. I made sure that the photography was really, really good. I spent literally over 3 months making sure the photography and all the margins were good, and every little possible thing about it was good. Adding little features to it, and yeah, just pricing too, everything.
Do you think it's important, and do you think you would have done it as well if you didn't pay so much attention to photography and packaging?
Definitely not. To be 100%, if I just would have gone with the Alibaba photos and just put up a listing, I feel like my results wouldn't even be half to what they were. I think I've talked to a lot of friends and everything who've looked at my listing and everything, and they always mention how good my photography is, and they don't even mention sometimes the product. They're like, this photography is incredible, like compared to all the other listings, and it's just
Yeah.
so surprising to me. Like, I'm learning more and more the value of things, and photography, which is beyond important. So that's definitely something I would have to say.
And to speak to your results, so what are they? What happens? So the product goes live. Talk me
Yeah.
through that first 7 days, first 30 days, what's going through your head, and what was happening? How were your sales doing?
So it was really a snowball effect, and I remember you told me this too, that you're not gonna day one just say, "Oh, I'm making 10 sales a day." It's
Mhm.
not gonna usually happen like that. It's usually gonna be maybe one or two sales your first few days, and then it really starts to turn the ball. The ball just keeps rolling, and eventually, and you can't like let your mind twist and be like, oh, I don't know, like it's going to be like 3 to 5 sales for the rest of the year, when really it's like you only have a few reviews, and like it just keeps building over time. Like after about 2 weeks, I was averaging like 8 to 10 sales a day, like a $15 profit, so it
And
was
how much
good.
does your product cost? Because 8 to 10 sales a day of a $10 product might be a totally different thing than what's your listing price?
Yeah, so my listing price is $49.99. I got a $15 to $16 profit for it. So it's around like 30%, exactly, a little under 30%. And I think what helped my PPC also be really good is just photography in general and having a good listing. So yeah,
Right.
that
It's one of the main
contributed.
things that's going to help your PPC is it's one thing to get a customer onto your listing, but what's going to kill your PPC is if they don't buy it. If they get it,
Yeah,
they land there and they keep buying it. It's fantastic, right? That's what gives you a life force of advertising. But a bad
yeah,
conversion rate is almost always going to be to the fault of what? Photography and copywriting, right? If they get there, they go, I'm not persuaded to purchase this. I'm going to go back to the page. That's how you get all those clicks and not a lot of sales. So, first 30 days, where are we at now? How much did you sell?
yeah.
And what are we currently doing?
Yeah. So my first 30 days exactly, I was at 9.6K revenue, so very close to 10K, which was really awesome based on having maybe only 10 to 15 reviews, and knowing that in a year from now, I could be at 50, 100 reviews and look a lot different. So about 5 weeks in, I'm just about out of stock, and I'm at like 11, close to 12K in revenue. So it was good. Very
That's
good first
awesome,
month.
man.
Yeah.
And what are we doing to get back in stock? Do you have inventory coming back in? How did you deal with that, right? Because that's a problem a lot of people might have.
Yeah. It was definitely my biggest lesson was, staying in stock, and it's so important, because I remember we were talking about this the other day. It's like not being in stock for a month or two can literally mean losing out on 2 to 3, $4,000 just off not being in stock. So I learned that was a kind of a test run for me, my first time going on Amazon. I learned that having more inventory, and maybe not 500 units but 300 instead of 150, is really good and really beneficial compared to just running out of stock in general.
How much did it cost you to launch your product? Not counting PPC, just like your initial investment in inventory.
Yeah. So I did two products in my same exact market, and it was around 5 grand, 5,500 for two products. So I could say that if you just did one, it would be probably two and a half, 2K if it was just one of them.
And that's an interesting strategy because you actually did what I tell a lot of people to do right away. You saw two different opportunities and you put up two different listings for two totally different things that are
Yeah.
both also not totally different. They're almost very similar. Same market, you're just taking up more of that real estate. So, speaking to that point, what are you doing to expand from here? How do you plan on going from 10K to 20K per month?
Yeah. Um, well, a lot of people would say since I found a good product, I have incredibly great knowledge. I should go find something else. I would say it's really about staying with what's working and staying in a market that's already proven itself and not really saying, oh, I need to test something else. Like, why would you want to go into something that could be a risk when you already have proof of concept that something is working, like when the market's already working for you? So I'm going to be launching two more products in my same exact market and just have four total ones. And I think that can help me scale to 20, maybe even 30K revenue a month and just keep building. You know, it's a process to get to where you want to get to. I think the result is always something you shouldn't really look at. You should really be more in tune with the process.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said it better myself. So you found success and instead of immediately looking another direction and going, okay, if I could do that here, 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 you're going, let me squeeze every drop of juice out of this market that I can before I move somewhere else. So, what's next for you, my friend? Where are you going from here, and what do you see your goals being for the rest of this year, if not next year?
Yeah, so I'm just scaling products in the same market, seeing how many sales I can just get out of this market in general. And then I have a few products lined up for 2021, like already in the future. On my free time, I like to sometimes product research and find future ideas that I would be spending time on in a few months from now. So saving myself time. So I have a few ideas for 2021, but really just these next 3 to 4 months getting inventory in and scaling in my exact market right now.
Cool. What would be something that you do differently or advice you have for someone who was maybe in your position right before you were about to launch?
That's a great question. I would say don't be afraid to take action because that's your best learning lesson than just soaking in information. Like you aren't, you are just procrastinating and you aren't going to get to exactly where you want fast enough if you just wait. The best way to get to where you want to get to now is just taking action and just making those mistakes early on that you would make a year from now.
That's awesome. So fail quickly is a funny way of saying that, right?
No such
Um,
thing as failure too. It's always more opportunities.
right. So maybe let this be the lesson for somebody. What would you do? And you're out of stock now, and that's going to be an opportunity cost. But what would you say to someone about ordering inventory up front? What would be your lesson there, and what are you going to take away from going out of stock?
Don't be afraid. So a lot of YouTube YouTube gurus like to say order 500 units. And I don't necessarily agree with that because I think testing a market doesn't require 500 units. It
Sure.
requires maybe 200 or 150. And right when you get proof of concept, don't wait. Immediately order a lot of units to come in as soon as you get the proof of concept. Because the whole point of a test order, like I did, was to get proof of concept that the market works. And as soon as I got proof of concept, I feel like I should have taken more action to get that units in. But I think that's a learning lesson is just to always keep in stock and don't be afraid to test a market. And you don't have to do 500 units.
And to be clear, I know test order gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
What you're speaking to exactly is you didn't cheap out on photography, you didn't cheap out on branding, you cheap out on any of that. You just lowered your quantity that you were going to order. Any final words for everyone out there listening? We're probably going to wrap this up here. Thanks. I don't want to waste any more time. Thanks so much for doing this call with me. A lot of people are going to thank you as well down in the comments. So any final words or advice for, maybe someone who's just at that point that you were when you just started watching YouTube videos? Maybe this is one of the first YouTube videos they're watching.
It took me a year to find my first product. So don't be discouraged that you haven't found a product and it's been a year and a half, 2 years. It takes time to find the right market. Just believe in yourself and know that the process is the most important part, not the result. The result is just, there's no such thing as a result. It's always just being in the process and just building and building. And finding the right product will take time, but you'll find it. Like just take action and be good.
So thanks so much, Matt, for joining us here on the channel. Guys, comment down below if you want to see more of Matt on the channel, or maybe let him know if you want him to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you'll read those comments and consider it. So thanks so much, buddy, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Later.